Hello, gorgeous. Welcome to a brand new episode of On My Manifesting Mind with your host, Sudane Firestar. I am so happy you are here. Today, we're talking about contrast and how to make it work for you. So, what is contrast? This is a term that comes from Abraham Hicks, and they are a group of non physical beings that Esther Hicks channels. If you think of the word contrast, it stands for opposition, right? Things that are opposing each other, things that are different from one another. So, say that you are someone who is generally a positive person, and then you have something that's negative that arises in your life, and it creates friction in your life, discomfort, and it kind of starts to change how you feel. You start to feel frustrated, cranky, annoyed, anxious, sad, depressed. Those are experiences that are in alignment with that contrasting experience. And they're actually out of alignment with who you are because you, at your core, are a happy, joyous person. You are a loving person. So when you have these experiences, they pull you away from who you really are. And in so doing, actually pull you away from your manifestation goals. So you've set your manifestation goals. You know exactly what it is you want to call into your life, but you're not seeing the results. You're not seeing them happen. And you're like, where are my manifestations? Most likely, you could be having contrasting experiences that are blocking you from manifesting the things that you want to call into your life. Or if they're not necessarily blocking you, they are slowing you down and making it so much harder. And it's taking so much longer for you to get to where you desire to go. So when it comes to contrast, you have a couple of choices. But, honestly, in manifestation, you have more than two choices. But I'm making this a hot take. So, say you only have two choices. So, on the one hand, you can stay stuck and you can complain about the things that are not working. Or, on the other hand, you can decide to use that contrasting experience to your advantage to actually help you manifest what you desire to manifest. So, if you want more abundance, you want more money, you want that better job, you want your dream home, you want the mansion, these are the things that are going to make a huge difference for you. Let's dive into it. Let's talk about how you can shift your mindset, see things differently, feel differently, because when you see things differently, you start to change the way that you feel. And when you change the way that you feel, you become an energetic match for the things that you truly desire to have and the things that you desire to manifest. So let's keep it going. Okay, so your first option is to stay stuck. So, for example, I had kind of a challenging day the other day where I had a very contentious meeting and I did not feel very good about it at the end. But the good part is that I went into this meeting having completed kind of an energetic protection visualization for myself, where I covered myself in white light before going into this meeting. I asked the universe for guidance, for support for what I could say, what I could do. And ultimately, it was just going to be contentious no matter what, because that was the other person's point of attraction. That was their dominant point of view at that point. And I'm not saying that that person was wrong in any way. Like, two things could be true. Like, I can be right, that other individual can be right. And so there were some things that the other person was very upset about. And this was a team meeting. There were multiple people in this meeting, but I was leading the meeting, presenting results, and then there was someone else in the meeting who was very upset and just had a different desire, something that they wanted to manifest that was different than what I was offering. But the point is that the meeting did not feel good to me. I left that meeting not feeling my best, but I have so many tools that I tap into to feel better when I have an experience like that, so that I can reset and I can create a more positive vibration for myself and feeling, so that I can become an energetic match for, or maintain myself as an energetic match for the things that I desire to call into my life. So you have that potential, right? So I'm not talking in like a positive, like a toxic positivity kind of way where it's like you can never feel negative emotion, you can never feel your feelings. No, you need to feel your feelings, you need to get them out. But how long does it take? are you able to pass through those negative emotions as quickly as possible? Or is there something that is staying with you for days, for weeks, for months, or that anytime you get a chance, you're bringing it up and you're talking about how crappy this situation is? You know what happened to me? Oh my gosh, it was so awful. You know what I mean? Like, and then you're just back in that same negative emotion where you feel frustrated and you're so annoyed and you're retelling this crazy story, this awful story that bothered you, that got under your skin. So like that's what I'm talking about. Like, are you reactivating these negative emotions that are pulling you away from the things that you want to manifest? Because if the things that you want to manifest are at your next level, whether that's your wealth, success, joy, happiness, wellness, being in a state of frustration or rage or sadness or anxiety, you're not going to be an energetic match for the things that you want because you can't even focus on those things. You're focusing on the things that you don't want. So, this is also something that Abraham talks about. Like when you're focusing on what you don't want, then that's what you are an energetic match for. That's where all your time and attention are going towards. So you're not necessarily making space to really give the time and attention to the things that you truly want. Yeah, so I had this day with this contentious meeting that was very unpleasant. And then I also had a challenging commute through the day. And it took me nearly 2 hours to travel within the same borough. So that didn't feel good either. So there were like back to back things that were annoying. And with the transportation being delayed, there were a lot of people that were cranky and annoyed and kind of like, like sardines squashed in on one another. And people were like cursing each other out and just everyone, and it's hot, it's summertime in New York, 80 degrees. So everybody was just kind of in this funk. And I had the choice to go with that energy, get into the funk, perseverate and think about all the things that were annoying and complain about it. And then, like, maybe come to you now and complain about the commute. But no, I'm not complaining. I'm just sharing with you that these are the kind of things that can come up in the course of the day for you that can be very frustrating, very annoying. And you can kind of keep reliving that, reactivating it. But you don't want to do that because then you're slowing your manifestations down. And who wants that? I know I don't, and I know that you don't. So the point is to not stay stuck in that situation. Maybe to process it, that means that you're talking to one person that you can confide in, that you know is empathetic and understanding and can help to support you and help you to feel better. That's awesome. If that's the point where talking to them helps you to feel more positive feelings and you're like, I feel relieved that I got through that and now I'm ready to move on. Or you're journaling about it and you're saying, these are all the negative things that have happened. These are the things that are frustrating me. And then, God, angels, universe, spirit guides, like help me to see things differently. Like, how can I see this in another light, a more positive light? So the point is not just to talk about things and vent just for the sake of venting, but the point is for you to get to a point where you feel better. So then the other side of it is that when you're having these contrasting experiences, any kind of contentious or frustrating experiences that you are having on a daily basis, you don't want to focus your attention on them because you're going to see more and more of that. You're going to attract more and more of that into your life. So on the other hand, what you can do is you can take a deep breath and then say, thank you for the reminder. Thank you, God, for the reminder. Thank you, universe, for the reminder, because it is a reminder of what you don't want. And when you know what you don't want, then you know what you do want because you're flipping it. It's the opposite, right? So it can be quite beneficial to have these experiences reflected to you and to know, like these are the things that I don't like. I don't want to live this experience anymore. Like, so what can I do to shift my lived experience? What can I do to move on from this so that I can be living my dream life? So to put this into perspective, let's share another example, right? So some of the things that I've talked about that are frustrating to me, like the commute is very frustrating and it has been for a couple of years now. And this is related to the location of my work versus my home. And it's not very fun to do that every single day. And then on the other hand, contentious meetings are thankfully, it has gotten better over the years. And I don't know, maybe it's just because I've changed my point of attraction. I really have. And so I find that over the years, through law of attraction and manifestation, that I have had way fewer negative experiences at work. My days are relatively peaceful. It is light years away from the way it used to be. It's so much better. But from time to time, I do have these very unpleasant situations and negative, contentious meetings or interactions with people that come up. And in the work that I do, I want to be making a positive difference in the world. I want to be having a positive impact, changing lives for the better, working with clients who are like, wow, like this is so incredible. It made a huge difference for me. And so the hard thing about the work that I do in my full-time position currently is that the people, like the clients that I'm serving, have not chosen me. Like I'm assigned to them. And that's hard for them too, right? Because they're not getting a choice, like unless they're going to take their children to a different school or different district. And so I empathize with them and I get it. That being said, that is not the way I desire to experience life. Like, I don't want to go to work and have contentious meetings and interactions with people. Like, I want to live a joyous life where I see that people love the service, they love the work that I'm doing with them. And so that's what I really love about being a coach, that is the kind of work I get to do. But currently, I don't get to do that full time. Or being a podcaster, coming here and talking to you about things that I know are going to enhance your quality of life. And then you watch the video or you listen to the audio and you feel good afterwards. Like that's what I want to manifest full time. Or I create the course and you take the course and it changes your life and enhances your quality of life. You get what I'm saying? So this is why part of the reason why I want to be a full-time entrepreneur. I want ease and flow. I want to be able to easily get to my daughter when needed or to get to my home or to work from home, to be able to manage the things at home more easily. I want to work with people who want to work with me and who don't feel like I was forced upon them. You know what I mean? So these are the things that come to mind when I think about what I do want. And so I, throughout the course of the day, was telling myself, thank you for the reminder. Thank you for the contrast because it's reminding me not to stay stuck. And the universe is like, hey, like, listen up. If I was to like knock on the microphone, boom, 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 like, hello there. Like, this is a reminder to you about the things that you don't want, that you keep saying that you don't want. So, what are you going to do about it? Like, what are the inspired actions that you are going to take to change your life if these things are no longer working for you? So, now I'm speaking to you. Like, these are the reminders for you too. What have you been seeing in your reality that has been getting under your skin, bothering you? And not just like, something random here and there, but consistently something that you recognize is not working in your life, but you're continuing to be like, and complain about it and how frustrating and annoying it is, but you haven't made the necessary shifts to increase your quality of life in that area. So maybe that's something that's happening at work where you routinely are having negative interactions with people because that's the nature of your work. That's what comes with the territory. Or maybe it's that, like I said, like me, where the commute is frustrating and it's not really working for you. So how can you change that? For some people, that might mean that they're getting a car with free parking or paid parking if that's going to create more ease. Or maybe it's, yeah, finding the work that's closer to home. Maybe it's doing the remote work. Like, what is going to increase your quality of life? What are the things that are routinely pulling you out of alignment, bothering you, frustrating you, that you have not made an effort to change? And what are you going to do about it? And if you're like, oh, I don't really know, then this is a good time for you to increase that awareness where you are tracking from day to day. Maybe you're bringing a little notebook with you, or just in your notes app, you are documenting the things that crop up that make you feel uncomfortable or frustrate you, annoy you. So I'm not necessarily saying that we want to increase your attention to the things that you don't want for the long term, but in the short term, try it just for a day or a week and see what's coming up for you and write it down. Because if you're not aware, now's the time to get clear. Like, oh, this is a thing that's frustrating me. What would I prefer? What would I want instead? What would be my ideal vision for what I would want to call into my life? How can I make a change? God, angels, universe, how can I make a change in my life to call in the things that I want, to change this, to make this different, to make this more beneficial to me and more rewarding. A cool exercise that you could try that I learned from Jack Canfield in one of his books is to create a T-chart where on one side you're writing down what you don't want, and then on the other side you're writing what you do want, which is basically the opposite or the contrast, right? Like, what is the opposite of the thing that you don't want? What would you prefer instead? Write it down on the other side of the T-chart. And then after you've written down all the things that you do want, cross out the things that you don't want, and then you're no longer going to be prioritizing those thoughts and those feelings. You're going to think about the things that you do want, turn your attention towards those things. And it's not enough to just write down the things that you want or say that you want them. That is step one, and that's awesome, because that can be a very challenging step for people. Like, figuring out what you do want can be very hard. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't know, or you don't really have the details and it's vague. You're not quite sure what it looks like. So first, you're going to get clear on that. Write down what you do want. Then the next step is to make that real for yourself. How do you do that? Tap into your senses. Notice how when you're watching a show, like a reality TV show, and maybe it's about travel or home renovations, or it's about real estate, like those shows that you watch where the scenery is so gorgeous, Instagram, and you're seeing all of these beautiful destinations and the delicious food that people are eating. Doesn't that make you feel something? Don't you feel joy and excitement? You want to live vicariously? Okay, speaking of contrast, this recording cut out before I was finished. So I was talking and a lot of what I said was not captured here. But as we're talking about with the contrast, we can always choose to see things differently and in a more positive light. So what can I take from this experience? Just that I actually plan to create a separate episode talking about how you can make what you want to call into your life, what you want to manifest, more real, juicier, more exciting. So I will leave the majority of that information for the next episode. So you have to tune back in next Thursday. But in the meantime, as we've been discussing, the point is you have two choices when it comes to contrast and the frustrating experiences in your life. On the one hand, you can choose to continue staying stuck in a situation that isn't working for you, complaining about it, and kind of reactivating those negative feelings, those negative emotions that keep you away from manifesting what you truly want in your heart of hearts. Or on the other hand, you have the choice to say thank you to the universe. Thank you for bringing this into your awareness and reminding you of exactly what it is that you don't want, because then it makes it so much clearer what you do want. And from there, you can then begin to take the necessary steps, the inspired actions to get closer to achieving the goals that you desire to manifest. So maybe that's travel or your dream home or apartment, or maybe that's your dream relationship or your dream baby or your dream business if you're wanting to become an entrepreneur, or your dream podcast. Like, now you know what you don't want, you know what you do want, and now you just need to figure out, how do I get closer to achieving that goal? And you co-create with the universe to make that happen for yourself. Ask God, the universe, what would you have me say? What would you have me do to get closer to manifesting my goals? And that's what I have today for you, my dearest. I had so much more, but tune in next week and I will continue the juicy episode, giving you all the deets about how to call all those beautiful things into your reality to get you excited and so motivated to keep going and never give up on achieving your dream life. And if part of your goal is to manifest your dream business and you want the mindset shifts that you need, and then also the practical tools, including how to create your brand and your online presence using manifestation and law of attraction, and then you're going to love On My Manifesting Mind exclusive episodes to become a subscriber. The link is in the show notes. And then also, if launching your dream podcast with confidence is a part of your game plan for your business, Audacious Audio is open for enrollment and the link is in the show notes. So if you also are not following me yet on Instagram, I am at Sudane Firestar, and then subscribe on YouTube. Soon I'm going to be doing YouTube lives and you're not going to want to miss it. So until next time, I love you, my dearest darling. Have a beautiful day and a wonderful week. Bye.